Most of black Africans hate to hear truth, especially when it comes out of the mouth of someone who looks like them. They prefer to hear it out of the mouth of a white person or non-black person. This is why black Africans continue to vote and move along the tribal line, or they cannot get together to build anything useful for themselves. How in the world individuals like Bola Tinubu could become a president in Nigeria? How is it possible that black Africans have let Europeans impose them brainless and incompetent individuals like William Ruto, Yoweri Museveni, Cyril Ramaphosa, Alassane Ouattara, John Akufo-Addo, Faure-Gnassingbé, etc. as leaders in African countries? The latter, Faure-Gnassingbé, is the so-called president of Togo, and he is less than poop. This incompetent and worthless so-called president of Togo seized power in a constitutional coup, with the help of the French army, 22 years ago after the sudden death of his father Ayadima Gnassingbé, who was not only dictatorial but barbaric. Faure-Gnassingbé is said to have earned master's degree in business administration from Georgetown University, but in fact he only registered there for one semester to learn word processing and typography, according to a professor at Georgetown University who confided to one of her former students who is Togolese. Only God knows the amount of Togo's wealth this so-called president squandered or handed to Georgetown University to obtain this fake and worthless MBA degree. The incompetent and worthless so-called president of Togo, Faure-Gnassingbé, is said to have fathered, to this day, 126 children with 3 dozens of mistresses across Africa. I have been to all West African countries, and I can say that Togo is not only the less developed country out there, but it is also the most backward country in West Africa. There are just few paved roads in Togo, and the main roads there are narrow like a trail in a forest. Worse, modern hospital and clinics are inexistent. Even in Lomé, the capital of Togo, there are no clean water, no decent schools, universities, stadium, etc. This is how this dynastic and barbaric regime of Gnassingbé, with the military assistance of the European colonizers, has taken the Togolese hostage and has been ruling Togo like a pancake shop for almost 70 years. The most diabolical thing the oppressive regime of the Gnassingbé family in Togo has been doing for decades is that this regime has been handing out a lot of money to foreign politicians, media personalities, and ordinary individuals on the social media to have them say that everything is great and wonderful in Togo. According to many Togolese I've listened to on the social media, the daughter of the incompetent and former Ghanaian president, John Kufuor, is one of 4 Gnassingbé mistresses. Faure-Gnassingbé built a big supermarket for the daughter of John Kufuor in Accra, Ghana, with the wealth and resources of Togo people he and his late father have managed as a family or personal property. This is how the incompetent, worthless, and evil so-called African leaders have been organizing things in their satanic fraternities in order to loot, starve, and deprive their fellow black Africans of common resources and wealth. The tyrannical and worthless so-called president Faure-Gnassingbé and his barbaric late father have been oppressing and starving people of Togo for more than half a century for the benefit of European colonialists and imperialists. Faure-Gnassingbé has also been insulting the intelligence of the Togolese. Less than a year ago, this worthless so-called president of Togo sent his foreign minister to the UN General Assembly where he dared say this, I quote, "Access to clean water and decent schools is the most inalienable of all human rights. Nobody in Togo lacks access to clean water and decent schools." End of the quote. What this Togolese so-called foreign minister said is nonsense, because the picture of Togo he was presenting is far from the reality in Togo. Let's now listen to these Togolese activists who were talking about the reality in Togo, or how Faure-Gnassingbé, the so-called president of Togo, views and treats his fellow Togolese as animals but not as human beings.
Ce sont les images du CHU campus à Lomé. Vous regardez vous-même les couloirs. Les accompagnateurs des malades, ils n'ont même pas de siège.
What you see now are the images of the University Hospital campus in Lomé. You can see for yourself the corridors. Those accompanying patients don't even have seats. People are in the corridors like in a refugee center.
Nous sommes à Nataré, canton de Naïga, là où on exploite exactement le manganèse dans la préfecture de Kwendial Ouest. Voilà cette fille-là, elle est en train de chercher de l'eau.
We are in that area in the Nahiga district, where manganese is mined. Look at this girl, she's looking for water. You can clearly see it in this video. She's looking for water. We are in an area where manganese is mined. Fornyasingbe brought foreigners to Togo to mine manganese in this area, but the people in this area and the Togolese benefit absolutely nothing from this manganese mining. We are in Nahiga, and here is this girl looking for water, digging in the earth because those who claim to govern Togo are incompetent and useless. Do you see that? She is searching for water. She is searching for water for her needs by digging in the earth. This is the reality in Togo under the dynastic and tyrannical regime of the Nyasingbe.
On va visiter le marché d'Adaolato. Il y a une vidéo que je vais passer.
We're going to visit the main market in Lomé, the Adikoti side, and you'll see what the main market in Lomé, the Adikoti side, looks like. This is a video by a Nigerian woman who's traveling around West Africa and filming markets. We're here in Adikoti, in the heart of Lomé, the nerve center of the Togolese economy. We're in Adikoti. This is the state of the market in Adikoti, in the heart of Lomé. See for yourself. And when we talk about International Women's Day, I saw Fornyasingbe post something on Twitter. He said that women contribute to the economy. But look at the conditions women work in. Can you imagine? And these women pay taxes, a lot of money. The Fornyasingbe regime doesn't even bother to improve the market or the working conditions for women. And all over Togo, markets are like this. The country is filthy. And that means nothing to those who claim to govern Togo. The conditions in the markets don't concern them at all. And these markets are managed directly by EPAM, the institution that handles taxes. EPAM collects taxes from these women in the market, and it's a lot of money that the government collects every month. Fornyasingbe, his mistresses, or so-called ministerial wives, and his friends share this collected money as bonuses. They only share it. Look at the state of the Lomé market, in the heart of the capital. How can you expect there to be no diseases? How can you expect people not to die of strokes? How can you expect people not to die from minor ailments? Fornyasingbe, are you proud to see the main market in Lomé in this state? When you and your ministers, who are your mistresses, see these images of the Lomé market, are you proud? Looking at the achievements of the Beninese president in 10 years, the markets that the Beninese have built in 10 years, what pride do you feel? If you had read the comments people left under this video, you would know how much people are mocking Togo. People are questioning whether Togo is even a governed country. Are there any leaders in Togo? Fornyasingbe, don't you appreciate good things, beautiful things, clean things, and bright things? It's pointless, Fornyasingbe, to tweet or write nonsense claiming that Togolese women contribute to the economy. It's pointless. So, these are the conditions in which Togolese women work, since the market is their workplace. The market is their workplace. These are the conditions in which these women work. It's their workplace because this is where the market women spend all day. That's the reality. Can you imagine all the diseases, cholera and many others, that come from these filthy markets?
Quelle fierté tu en tires? Mes vidéos à Gomé, si vous voyez les commentaires que les gens font, comment les gens se moquent du Togo. Les gens se posent la question si le Togo même c'est un pays gouverné. Est-ce qu'il y a des dirigeants au Togo? Je vais vous montrer les locaux d'un commissariat à Lomé. Nous sommes au commissariat du 8e arrondissement.
I'm going to show you the premises of a police station in Lomé. We're at the police station in Agonev. Do you see the conditions in which the police officers work? In all neighboring countries, governments are investing in building modern facilities for police stations, whether it's in Ivory Coast, Ghana, or Benin. And yet in Togo, the same people have been governing the country for 60 years. The police stations in barracks are like pigsties. And all the police stations in Lomé are like that. These are the conditions in which police officers work in Togo.
Je vais vous montrer l'école primaire publique de Kakaveli, derrière la Suété, pas loin de Skrik.
I'm now going to show you the Kakavili Public Primary School behind the company building, not far from Scriff. You'll see this building there. A fellow Togolese citizen sent us this image, which we then shared as a short video on our page. Do you see the pillars? The iron is rusted, and the pillars are about to collapse. This is the Kakavili Public Primary School. You can clearly see that the pillars and the iron are rusted. The concrete and the pillars are no longer holding up. People are afraid that one morning this building will collapse on the children. These are the conditions in which some school buildings exist right in the city of Lomé, in the heart of the capital of Togo. School buildings have become pigsties. Our children attend schools that are like pigsties. How do you expect them to become responsible citizens in society tomorrow? In these schools, children sit four per a bench.
Regardez ce qu'ils appellent amphithéâtre, université de Kara. C'est-à-dire, toi, tu vas à l'école, tu fais le cours primaire dans un hangar, tu fais le cours secondaire dans un bâtiment plus ou moins qui n'est pas loin.
Look at what they call the amphitheater at the University of Kara. Togolese students attend primary school in a shed, secondary school in a building near a shed, and high school in another building near a shed. Finally, when they get to university, they study in what looks like a chicken coop. This thing we see resembles a shed where they raise laying hens or incubate chicks. For Nyasingbe, what pride do you derive from this image? That's it. The buildings where students study at the University of Kara in Peya are chicken coops. And yet, you had the nerve to put this image on the University of Kara's website. Imagine if a student in Canada, a student in Japan, a student anywhere, even in Cameroon, wanted to look at the University of Kara's website, and this is the image they found.
Pour Nyasingbe, j'ai dit et je te répète, regarde, même si nous là, on doit aller signer avec le diable, hein, on doit aller signer, si nous-mêmes on doit vendre nos reins, hein, on doit vendre nos reins pour voir toi ton départ là, on va vendre nos reins pour voir ton départ. Si le Togolais doit être poussé même à vendre ses reins, financer cette révolution là, je te dis, à l'extrême même, on peut même couper nos têtes même pour vendre. Hein, même couper nos parties, si les docteurs veulent n'importe quelle partie de notre corps, hein, pour nous financer cette lutte là, on le fera. Tu comprends ce que je suis en train de te dire? Ce qui veut dire que nous, on n'a même plus peur de mourir. Je te dis, là où nous sommes arrivés, on sait que tôt ou tard, on va mourir. En servant la bonne cause et quittons humblement cette terre. Et ceux qui sont morts dans la voiture la fois passée, ceux qui sont morts depuis là, écoute, la mort ne ferait plus le Togolais. Sinon, ceux même qui affichent les messages, ceux qui écrivent sur les murs là ne devraient même pas le faire. Tu comprends ce que je te dis?
For Nyasingbe, I've told you before and I'll say it again, even if we have to make a pact with the devil or sell our organs to finance a revolution in Togo to remove you from power, we will do it. In extreme cases, we might even offer our heads to be chopped off in exchange for your departure, because you are incompetent and worthless. This means that some Togolese, like us, are no longer even afraid of dying. We know that sooner or later, we will die or leave this world. Therefore, the only good cause we will serve on this earth is to do everything in our power to remove you from power. For Nyasingbe, you have already killed thousands of Togolese for pleasure, and hundreds of Togolese die daily from hunger and road accidents because of your catastrophic governance of our country, Togo. Listen, for Nyasingbe, your intimidation and death threats will no longer deter the Togolese people from their determination to liberate their country, Togo, from your dictatorship and barbarism. That is why some Togolese are starting to write or put up posters on walls telling you to step down. Death no longer frightens the Togolese, because they were born in fear and death. There will be no dialogue between you, for Nyasingbe, and the Togolese people regarding your unconditional departure from power. Neither the CR, nor the ANC, nor the other political parties that you, for Nyasingbe, created and that you call political parties, have any value in the eyes of the Togolese people. These so-called political parties in Togo do not represent the Togolese people, and they are insignificant in that fraud you still want to organize and call political dialogue. What dialogue? The Togolese people are not foolish enough to let you continue using these so-called political parties to polish your image abroad and to continue ruling Togo through terror. The Togolese people, who are currently fighting against you, for Nyasingbe, know each other and are very determined. It is not the CAR and the other so-called political parties that you yourself created that will discourage the Togolese people in this revolution against you. The Togolese people will no longer accept any so-called dialogue organized by For Nasingbe in Togo. The Togolese are ready to sacrifice their lives to oppose to another political dialogue in Togo. Even if For Nasingbe wants to kill all Togolese, the Togolese are even ready to die. It serves no purpose for us to exist in Togo and watch a bloodthirsty dictator like For Nasingbe continue to kill us and our children. The Togolese people will never negotiate with you again, For Nasingbe, because you didn't come to power through negotiation, but through a constitutional coup after the death of your tyrannical father. There will be no more political dialogue in Togo. Ms. Marguerite Nyakade, Jean-Paul Hamalou, and the other political prisoners will be freed by the Togolese people. For Nasingbe, I am the one saying this, and I ask you, For Nasingbe, to write this down somewhere as a reminder. Because you, For Nasingbe, are not God on earth, and you are nothing at all. What are you that we haven't already seen in this world? Nothing will deter the Togolese people from driving you from power and liberating Togo. You will leave power willingly or by force, and there will be no more negotiations or dialogue. As you have been using every means to cling to power, the Togolese people will also use every means to remove you from power. The Togolese people will always wish all the evils of this world upon you and those with whom you work to plunder Togo's wealth and oppress and kill the Togolese. Remember that dictators have done more than you, but they were ultimately removed from power by the sovereign people. The Togolese people have now reached a point where they need brave people in their ranks to end the dictatorship of For Nasingbe or the Nasingbes in Togo, because it is a responsibility and a noble fight for the Togolese people. We will not lose this fight, and we will prevail by force. The Togolese people no longer want to see and accept that their parents and children drink dirty water. They no longer want to accept that their parents and children lack access to healthcare, education, and so on, because of your incompetence in governing Togo. While the Togolese people lack clean water, hospitals, schools, universities, roads, and so forth, you, For Nasingbe, spend millions of dollars on your birthday. Furthermore, you continue to distribute Togo's wealth to your numerous cronies scattered around the world. Even the so-called female ministers in your government are your mistresses. Since you, For Nasingbe, have never held a real job in your life, that's why you want to cling to power indefinitely by using the army and funding militias against the Togolese people. You have already been in power for 20 years, and yet you were never surrounded by competent or intelligent people. For Nasingbe, you are the worst thing nature has to offer the world in this century. There is nothing to expect or hope for from a president like you, For Nasingbe. That is why I ask all my fellow Togolese citizens to become patriots to liberate Togo from the dictatorship and barbarity of For Nasingbe. Here in Ghana, where I have found asylum, President Mahama is adored by almost all Guineans. Recently, he built the longest bridge in West Africa in less than a year. But in Togo, For Nasingbe took 21 years to build a bridge less than a kilometer long, and that bridge collapsed right after its completion. In his native village of Kara, For Nasingbe built 2 rooms and living rooms that he called a university. He went so far as to appoint one of his military mistresses as rector of this university. This is where the For Nasingbe's regime has led Togo to. Even in 2026, a light rain easily floods Lomé, the capital, because there is no drainage system in the capital or anywhere else in Togo. The dictatorial For Nasingbe regime routinely blames flooding in the capital's neighborhoods on the lack of trees, which is an insult to the intelligence of the Togolese people. Yet, Togolese people have planted trees every June 1st for the past 60 years. It is the same bloodthirsty regime of For Nasingbe that continues to cut down trees in Togo with total impunity and then resell them to the Chinese and other foreigners. Who is insulting whom? I will say it again. There is nothing to expect or hope for from an incompetent president like For Nasingbe. That is why I am asking all Togolese to become patriots to liberate Togo from the dictatorship and barbarity of For Nasingbe. Did you hear what that Ghanaian told me? Even Ghanaians know the incompetent and useless For Nasingbe better than we Togolese do.
No, right now you have to be international.
No, be serious. Be serious.
I'm serious.
Just take it. Yes.
So you can do that.
Teacher, what me I'm telling you here,
I understand.
just see, say, even when you see the road that they do here, yesterday, almost 6 people died like this because of the road. Yes, they take cow. See the road for over 60 years. You see the road there. They couldn't even do half of that route.
But see, right
600 kilometers. And Togo all.
you start talking.
Oh, Charlie. 600 kilometers. They are not even able to do 600 kilometers.
You have everything to talk.
Just see here. How many times did they do that thing?
Buy resources.
The thing. I said they go dig away people houses like this because of the natural resource. Who don't even have hospital, water, nothing.
Start talking for them. Come yourself to Togo, Kavitela.
Oh, massa.
Start work for them. Now they did the.
And when you are talking, you see some foolish things.
No, you see,
Only
if you study the history of Togo, you look at how Olympia was killed. You look at president or leaders before Olympia was killed. You see how Yadema was behaving, supporting the France or the French. Now, 205, the Sun took over and still
killing.
Resources.
I said in 20 years, since 2005 to today, see how many years?
If I were him by now, I should.
To resign and leave people.
What does he want again?
You see plenty people, the children, everything, they love.
If you want to,
Why?
if you want to redeem them, let me know. Support you so that you become president. You make me million.
Vous voyez, les gens, les Ghanéens connaissent mieux les gens là. Moi je vous dis là, c'est aide oui, si vous ne vous levez pas, one.
I hope more young black men on the African continent, like this Togolese, wake up soon before it is too late. Young black African men should take concrete actions after they express their frustration and anger at their evil so-called presidents or leaders. No true freedom will come to black Africans without a great price or sacrifice, because black Africans and black people worldwide have been dealing with a lot of barbaric demons and evils on earth for centuries.